Hi. This is just a little overview of a moment that I had with a client. So I worked with a client whose father has cancer. He is in the stages of terminal illness. Um, I had to utilize empathy by listening to what the client was saying. And so before we get to the empathy aspect, I had to do some self reflection. So, again, the client's father, so this was a young man that I had the ability to work with. He's about 30, 35 years old. His father is about 55 or 60. The client was 30, 35, which means he's in the prime of his life, being able to accomplish things. And there are things that the client wanted his father to be able to see before he passed. And so the first thing that I had to do was identify, I had to reflect on myself, because of the fact that I am still working past things with my family, right? And with my father in particular. So I had to first go back and work on the biases and the backdrop feelings that I had about family. Sometimes I can be a little, not necessarily cold, but I sometimes just don't feel as close to my family. So I did the background work. I had to realize that, according to the National Association of Social Workers ethical principles, my role is to keep the client first. So once I identified that I had to do some work on me, I took the time, like I said, thought about the ethical principles according to the NASW, and realized that I need to rethink some things, take a time out, deal with the backdrop of the feelings that I had. I did that, and then it allowed me to be able to hear the client better when he explained things like, I'm 30, 35. There's things that I wanted my father to see me do. I wanted my father to see my son grow up. I wanted my father to see me excel in life, excel at work. I wanted my father to work on my house with me. These were all things that I personally didn't feel, but I was able to use empathy after I got past the personal issues, the personal biases that I had. I was able to use empathy and understand and feel how the client felt. Once I was able to employ the use of empathy, I was able to provide processes that he could use to help him in the here and the now. I provided the client with guidance such as, hey, your father is still here. He is still able to understand the things that you are saying. Let us use this time wisely. Yes, your father is suffering from a terminal illness. Yes, we don't know exactly how long he has. He could be gone in a matter of a few days. With that being said, it is very important for us to use the time now that we have to celebrate the life, to harness the time and the energy that your father does have, right? Give him that love. Let him see his grandson. Share the stories with your father that you wanted to share with him. If there are things from your childhood, make sure you discuss those things and kind of square away whatever issues, so that once your father passes, you will be able to say, I was able to enjoy the last moments of my father's life. Because what we cannot do is stop him from passing, but we can use the time that he has now, use it wisely to love on him, so that years later down the road, when you think about the last moment of your father's life, it's not thoughts of what you should have done. It will be thoughts of what you did. Those thoughts you can share with your son as well. That was the information that I provided to my client. And just going back to it, the NASW Code of Ethics speaks very directly about us being aware of ourselves, right? If we have things that are going on in our lives, taking the time out to address those issues, because we are not able to counsel clients. We cannot pour from an empty cup. That is essentially what the NASW code of ethics spoke about. And that is what I took time to do, is to address the backdrop of my life. And I took time to utilize empathy versus sympathy. So sympathy is just a feeling, and it's just me saying, I'm sorry that you're going through that. To me, the difference between sympathy and empathy is, with empathy, it allows me to empower a client to make the next best step as to what should be done in this situation, to maximize the time that they have, to maximize the energy that they have, to maximize the overall output. That is another ethical principle of the NASW Code of Ethics, is to be able to help a client understand that, hey, I am here to empower you. I'm here to hear what you're saying, but my overall goal is to empower you to get you to a better place. So again, that was the story in the moment that I had with my client. My personal strength is that I am an excellent listener. I am an empath, right? So it doesn't take much for me to hear what a client is saying and to be able to formulate words to be able to help them move past it, to deal with it, and to move past it. So not only am I a good listener, but I also have the ability to help people feel relaxed. And so in that moment, what the client needed was a listening ear, right? He was very stressed about the situation. And he did comment that before he came in, he felt as though he was in crisis mode. But after having the conversation, after the education that I provided him, he felt more relaxed. The situation was not perfect, but the tips and tools that I gave him, he appreciated, because it empowered him to have better use of his time and to make the best of the situation.